Hello and welcome back, brothers and sisters. Welcome to today's Seraphim Serenade, Channeling and Teaching. In today's teaching, Seraphim Kazael has a very interesting set of messages prepared. And one of the topics we'll be talking about that he'll be sharing is discussing this interesting kind of modern controversy, and I suppose you'd call it a modern idea of a cult around Metatron and his cube. And he'll be sharing insights around that, as well as he'll be talking about the teaching of the Archetype of Humanity again. They're also kind of related topics, as well as Kazael has things to say about modern Earth changes. As we're seeing a lot of them right now. Earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, tsunamis, all happening at the same time, on the same days practically. So let's get into it. Bring in Kazael. Well, hello again, and what an honor it is to be able to speak to you in this way, once again through our human friend Troy, as well as to experience your world, even for a brief time, of what you perceive to be time, and to share our teachings directly with you. You may call me by the name Seraphim Kazael, or Kazaya is also an appropriate version of this name that represents my energetic vibration and totality. And in today's teaching, let's dig into this very fascinating to us controversy that some humans are creating and talking about as it regards what you call Metatron's cube, and very kind of clever and interesting newly proposed name that some are calling Metatron's cube as the Daisy of Death. Now, this is not an old or historic term for it. It is a fairly modern term that was essentially fabricated, imagined within the last few years, within the last handful of years perhaps, from humans. And just as we've described before, it is within the potential of the mechanics of a human consciousness complex, that each of you carries filters of how you perceive reality, conditioning, and these are essentially the filters that get placed over the lamp or lantern of the light of your soul that always wants to shine forth and become creation. And some people have developed the filters or potential for such ideas and filters to diverge into a path, into a way of being, into a tangent in their soul's incarnation of perhaps distorting, perhaps not fully coming to understand with respect for the origins and truth and history, and with an assumption of what something could be according to what they think it is, or what they feel within their consciousness complex filters. And of course, as many of you know, many of you listeners know, Metatron's cube is a truly sacred geometrical symbol. It contains within it all essential Platonic solids as well as other geometrical forms, and can give birth to geometry. And of course, this symbol has very interesting origins, not so much in scripture and ancient scriptural traditions as you would describe them. However, it came about as interpretive art that spread once it was established, based off of geometry that the man you know as Enoch had transcribed from the essence and knowing of his soul. We'll get into also a bit more about Enoch and Metatron and that soul and angel in a bit. So, this Metatron's cube became known as the geometry, the symbol of Metatron, which very few other, practically no other traditionally known angels are depicted with such a geometrical symbol. But here we are with Metatron. Of course, it's not inappropriate that he is depicted as, or from, this symbol with it, because he is the only angel or archangel that is recorded to have lived as a human. Keyword that is recorded as having lived as a human. And so that, of course, makes him unique in cultural terms. And it is typically thought that, especially according to some scriptural and church teachings, that humans cannot actually be that close to the divine and divine realm, and that humans cannot possibly be actual angels, that angels cannot incarnate as humans. Well, sadly for such scripture and church teachings, that actually is not entirely true. That was never told to humans by God by angels. And the truth is, there have been many, many angels who have incarnated into human bodies and lived human lives, and many are currently. Some who Troy knows are even what are termed as walk-ins. Angel souls who have either joined a soul in their existence to live with them, as them, or who have switched out entirely to become a divine presence in a human vessel. And then there are other types of angelic souls who Troy himself has become aware that he is one of these. He's not necessarily an archangel or angel as you would classically describe, or at least that you'd assign a name to from angelic traditions. However, his soul's essence resonates, vibrates, and thrives with what you could term as a bloodline from other holy souls and angel energy, an angelic bloodline. And this is actually not entirely unique. Of course, Troy is not the only one, and we cannot give other names or say how many of this type of angelic hybrid soul are currently incarnated on Earth right now. There are more coming, and this will become an entire community as they group together in the coming years. However, there are thousands of such souls on Earth at this point. We can tell you that much, and they are participating in their own unique ways in uplifting and helping to shift the vibrational energies of human consciousness. And a little bit more about Metatron, as actually Troy has channeled Archangel Metatron's consciousness himself, and that is recorded on this channel, as you would call it. And Metatron described through Troy, without Troy even having read or heard of hardly anything about Metatron's life and essence or function, it was completely telepathic. But indeed that Metatron functions as a bridge between the divine realm and humans, as well as all of nature. And one of the manifestations of this is the effect of all organic creatures and humans and beings in their physical form having designs with sacred geometry in proportions as well as shapes that line up and correspond with geometrical patterns. And so this is the effect that you see of this bridge of light to and from light you could say. And that is something that has always been present, something that has always been here and always been in nature, in the natural world. So some of you may actually be thinking or questioning, but that has always been so and part of creation. How can one human have evolved and transformed within one lifetime, as you know it, into an angel who serves this function from your planet? And the answer is Enoch was not the origin of Metatron. Yes, Metatron did incarnate as Enoch to finish up a final incarnation as a human, to inspire and teach others around him during that lifetime, and to leave teachings and impressions on this world. However, just like all of you, each of your individual souls, so as Enoch's, is not just a new soul, and it's not just completely new. You've been here before, and your soul itself is made of the light of God, Allah, Source. Yes, remember this? Yes, this is the divine, just light in you that wants to express in its purest, truest, brightest, most talented, most honored, respectful, loving, and honorable ways that it knows how to and has chosen to through your unique vessel for your unique purpose and mission this lifetime. So, to end this talk about Metatron, let's say that you actually are and always have had and maintain and always will maintain a connection with the light and source, God, Allah, and divine realm, and divine beings within the divine realm. And yes, your spirit guides and angels, ancestors, and perhaps animal guides have always been around you, have always been with you, waiting to serve, always watching and listening to you, just waiting for you to be aware of them and ask for help, talk with them, have a conversation. So it's really your own bias, conditioning, and denial of this direct connection to light, spirit, source, Allah. That is what blocks you from truly being a medium, a psychic, empathic, intuitive medium, from learning how to manifest actual magic, cast types of spells, as you describe them, manifest things simply from thought and intention and words, even be able to learn how to channel divine and healing energies through your direct connection to God, Source, Allah, into other beings to heal them, to restore their life and vitality within their body. So this is the teaching and a segue also into the archetype of humanity. That, yes, you actually are a type of echo, a ripple from Metatron. And that doesn't mean that you can necessarily or will have an easy time performing the types of miracles and teachings and transformations into an angel that Metatron actually has been recorded to have accomplished. But you can investigate, you can master, you can just live with, expound on your unique soul's talents and spiritual calling, and that is the compass to navigate your roadmap. There's never been a compass for you in what you call the job and corporate industries or setup. They don't have the answers for you. There's never been a compass so much, even in most of your schools on Earth. They can give you some insights, but it's the compass in you that gives you the truest answers for yourself. This is what you've come here to remember. Not just remember, but to re-embody. And this will certainly help you learn about and close the gap of karma to what your soul actually wants and needs to learn, wants and needs to achieve. And by closing that gap of karma, you can close that door, become whole, and become all of and entirely your true self, your true blueprint, essence, and plan for this lifetime. It was not given to you by your parents or ancestors or school teachers or a degree. It's always been latent within you. You've simply been taught to cover it up. So this is also a beautiful segue into the archetype of humanity, and the way we described this previously is just as within the Starseed and Lightworker and New Age communities, you may have heard of all of these star races, as you could term them, visiting Earth: the Pleiadeans, the Sirians, the Arcturians, the Lyrans, the Taurians, Tau Ceti, even all the Barons and others, who each have their technologies, their knowledge, their healing abilities, their traditions they've taught many of your cultures and traditions, and they each still continue to visit your planet today. Those of you who vibrate with their unique signatures, their unique archetypes, you could call them. And you see them, you receive healings from them, you receive teachings from them. Some of you have allied with them and walk side by side with them. This is the beautiful potentials of the archetype of humanity. And just as each of these star races, of course, has had their own ancient histories and has come very far in triumph, in unification in integration and evolution, and many other ways within their history, their people, their societies, just because they present themselves to you, those that visit you, as inspirationally pure and high vibrational, enlightening, even angelic presences, doesn't mean that their people always had it easy or peaceful. Many of them also had their wars, their world wars, their cataclysms, their genocides, some worse than your planet. Yet they've come to where they are today, and these star names that you refer to them by, the Pleiadeans, the Sirians, the Lyrans, the Arcturians, and so forth, those are the archetypes you know them by. And this can be what the archetype of humanity can be. Earth human can become its own archetype. And as Earth humans, although today many are very divided and separated as your imagined borders and differences, we see that there is a time, it's already there, there's a time that humans will become unified much more cohesively. And that doesn't mean that you have to abandon any particular elements or all of your ancestral traditions, but there can become a unifying element that all humans know each other by and share in commonality. And that unifying element is what you could describe as the rainbow, the result of a prism, as we've described previously, a style of prismatic living, manifesting light through you as a hollow bone, a clear crystal, and the rainbow element that many humans can come to belong with each other as is the very same level of consciousness and evolution that the children of New Hope have been bringing and delivering to your world. The children of New Hope, who are already cohesive, unified individuals and a tribe. Notice that a rainbow is at least 6 or 7 colors that you can see and differentiate, but it's all connected and one and the same. They fade into each other. They're not clean, separate, bordered lines from each other. At least a true rainbow made of light is not separated. So this is the archetype of humanity, and Metatron, and you can use the symbol of Metatron's cube, truly is an appropriate symbol and way of understanding the bridge of light, bridge to and from the light, the rainbow bridge to other worlds, to source, to humanity and Earth. And humans can truly and appropriately become harmonized, unified through this level of rainbow thinking rainbow consciousness. We will leave this discourse on that high vibrational tune. And we as Seraphim Kazael do wish you the best of your days. And we remind you to, from now on, in every moment moving forwards, imagine your life as an already polished masterpiece, and then rise from above that level. That's what you can become. And so all is well. Hmm. Wow, that was 44-minute channeling. Beautiful. Stopping at 11:44. Well, thank you all for listening and watching again. I hope that you learned and received greatly from that channeling and from that message. And if you have any questions, if you want to participate, these channelings start at 11 a.m. every Sunday. And the link is always available in the Sacred Space Sessions group on Facebook. Thank you all for watching. And until next time, until we meet again, I wish you peace. And I hope that you can meditate and glean something from that beautiful teaching, that wisdom of living as a rainbow body, a rainbow emanation, rainbow consciousness, to unify with others. Peace to you.